SBC Media.
SBC Leaders connects the gambling industry's top-tier operators and associations to share the best ideas, collaborate on solving the biggest issues, and push innovation throughout the betting and gaming industry. If you're an operator and want to join the discussion, visit sbcleaders.com for more information.
As 2023 comes to an end, here at iGaming Daily, we thought it would be nice to reflect on some of the most interesting conversations we've had throughout the year. One of these conversations included myself at this year's SBC Summit North America, where I had a chat with SGG Media's CEO Troy Paul about how working with different sports betting operators across various social media platforms can shape the business relationship between sports and gambling going forward. We also delved into micro-influencers and Twitch. Enjoy.
Hello, my name is James Ross, the multimedia editor at SBC Media, and I am joined today by Troy Paul, the CEO of SGG Media. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. So you're here to talk a bit about SGG Media, but before we actually delve into that, can you just explain a bit about the company itself?
Yeah, of course. So SGG Media is a media and marketing company based in the sports gambling space. And really what we did is we're all in on social media. We built a platform, we like to call them micro-influencers. These are influencers who create an account. Let's say you were a big fan of the New York Knicks. So you created an Instagram or Twitter where you'd only post content about the New York Knicks. And you built up a following of around, let's say, 30 or 40,000 followers. Not a massive following, but there's a lot of these micro-influencers out there. So what SGG did is we built a platform where we aggregated, to date now I think we're at just over 1,500 of these micro-influencer accounts that represent every sport, every league, every team, regional and national. And we built up a following of just over 30 million total followers. And then in terms of the sports gambling space, what we do is we partner with the major corporations. We partner with FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, some daily fantasy sports companies. And we run either branding campaigns if they're launching a new show or a new podcast, just to kind of get sports fans looking at what they're posting. Or we'll run performance marketing campaigns. So we'll run a new sign up when FanDuel launches in Ohio or in New York, basically to bring consumers to these major operators.
How instrumental is the convergence of betting and social media in the sector?
It's everything. I think if you look at the industry 3 years ago and what operators were doing to now, you can see the convergence happening in real time. You're looking at the new operators like Betr, who's launching a sports media company and a social media company, combining it with an operator platform, and you're seeing the synergies in what's happening with a company like that. Then you look to a company like FanDuel, and you see that they're launching FanDuel TV Plus. They're trying to create communities. They're trying to create audiences that use FanDuel and enjoy it for more than just the actual user interface to make my bets. They're trying to build communities with podcasts and shows and social media that kind of create a larger audience around their platform. So it's growing every day.
I'll probably say over the last 5 to 10 years, we've seen so many different social media platforms come in different forms, shapes and sizes. How do you continue to push and stand out in all those crowds of different social media platforms?
We like to say it's half science, half art. There's not a surefire way to guarantee what you're doing, but we work in social media every day. So we see a lot of what's happening with trends, and we see what new platforms are growing and what utilities they have to the sports gambling space. A great example of this would be, I'd say, Discord is a new social media style app that really no one even knew about 24 months ago.
No, it was mainly for me, being a gamer, it was just gamers to connect with PC gamers and stuff
exactly.
Like that. You get so many different channels that you can build communities on.
Yeah, but then you start to learn as you use it that the engagement levels of people who are on an influencer's Discord or whatever Discord it is that you follow are significantly higher than someone who's looking at an Instagram post. So the utility of that, if you can partner with the right people and create the right kind of content on this new platform, is vital for conversions and sending people to whatever operator it is you're working with. So it's a challenge. It's a ongoing changing landscape. That's the way we like it. And it's really just a matter of constantly, evolving with it and looking into everything that's going on.
So I'm not sure you delve with Twitch too much, do you?
We are involved with Twitch a little bit, yes.
Yeah. So recently Twitch announced the big ban on online casinos and stuff like that. With use there, it's terms and conditions. It's not regulations set. How do a company like yourself, SSG, and the operators within the industry, how do you fully utilise the power of these platforms while also adhering to the regulatory, we'll say, terms and conditions of the sites?
It's not easy because it's a moving target constantly. What I'm running one day that's compliant, the next day isn't. And if you look at the Twitch ban, that's I guess the biggest example of this. There was an entire industry of iGaming streamers that were all running and streaming on Twitch one day, and then the next day it's gone overnight.
The numbers that fell, I remember looking at the Twitch metrics, and I believe it was like before the ban, you was getting 70,000 average hours viewed.
Yeah.
After the ban, you dropped down to about 20, and it got to us about 7,000 at one point.
Yeah. Well, it had to have been the fastest growing streaming segment of Twitch. But what's interesting about that, and not to go on too big of a tangent here, what's interesting is if you really read the TOS around the ban and what Twitch said, they said that the non-regulated, non-licensed operators cannot be streamed on Twitch. But that presents a massive opportunity in the US with the legal iGaming operators, the BetMGMs and the Caesars and the FanDuels and the DraftKings, that there's a world that streamers can stream themselves playing iGaming on Twitch so long as it's being done with a licensed, regulated operator here in the States. And that makes sense. Twitch wants to do it the right way. They want it to be controlled. They want the right gambling language. They want the right compliance language. And you're working with kind of gray area casinos that could present a lot of problems.
It was a very Wild West kind of moment, wasn't it? Because there was so many, like, we'll call them black market streamers for now, but because they were so out of control, you had to get kind of them in control in a sense, in line.
They were just making so much money from it. There's so much money being made that they couldn't say no to it. You were seeing big celebrities getting involved with it. And it got a little bit out of hand. And, Twitch laid down the hammer. But I really believe that these platforms want gaming involved on their sites. It's just too big of an audience, and it just brings too many eyeballs to their platform to not be involved with it. You're seeing sports gambling and iGaming going mainstream. You're seeing ESPN getting involved with it. You're seeing the leagues getting involved with it. I think it's just a matter of time, I guess, on the Twitch front before they really figure out how to do this the right way and allow streamers to come back under the licenses and umbrellas of the legal, regulated, operated companies.
Brazil, a global economic powerhouse, deeply passionate about sports, and now home to one of the hottest markets in gaming. And we're giving it the full SBC treatment. Join industry leaders, market experts, and all the major players in the country for 3 days of content, exhibition, and epic networking at the first ever SBC Summit Rio.
So I remember when I first heard about the Twitch ban, I was thinking, this seems a bit excessive. It seems a bit radical considering everything else that goes on with Twitch, because it's not without its controversies.
Yeah.
And we can mention hot tub streaming and all that jazz, but actually on the face of it, what Twitch has done has been the most responsible thing Twitch has actually done in a long time.
Yeah.
And actually protecting its user base, which, let's not forget, even though gambling is tailored to an adult audience, there's still quite a lot of young people utilising Twitch. So they put the safe measures in there in place, and they will only go further to enhance that product to make consumers safe. But just on SGG Media, going back to yours, how do you differentiate yourself from others in your field?
There's one major difference between what SGG does and I'd say what most other social media related marketing media companies do, and that's we're regional. We're regional based. There's a lot of companies that have massive celebrities and ex-athletes and just big name figures that work for them and have massive followings on social media. But if you think about it, their followings are nationwide. They're from California all the way to New York. They're just big celebrities. SGG works with these micro influencers, which is kind of what I alluded to earlier. The audience of someone who follows a New York Knicks influencer, the majority of them are going to be in New York. And then the majority of the audience that follows a Cleveland Browns fan account is going to be in Ohio. So we're able to segment our campaigns and advertise on a regional scale through social media, which is pretty unheard of, I guess, up until now, up until micro-influencers. So
in the present day, in 2023, what content kind of resonates with the sports fans? Your content on social media?
There's hundreds of different segments. For companies and for influencers, it's more about finding your niche. Finding what specific area am I really passionate about or an expert in, or really I can make a lot of jokes in and create good, funny content around, and honing in on that. From the gambling front, I think you're seeing this new wave of handicappers, people who post their picks online. It used to be kind of, I'd say, like a slimy space where people were promising the world and saying, I'm going to make you a ton of money and I never lose my bets. And the audience got tired of that because the audience was losing. Whereas now you're starting to see the genesis of content driven by losing bets and funny bets. And I'm making props and, oh my God, I haven't hit a bet for 7 days straight. Fade my picks, please, right? And it's funny. And people are watching these picks and these handicappers, not because they're going to win the money, but because it's relatable. You know, you're a losing gambler, you watch another losing gambler in front of the screen. So that's an area I'm seeing a lot of growth, I guess, in the gambling space. And then in terms of just sports as a whole, I'd say just video-led, short-form video-led podcasts and content.
Certainly in the US, with the whole TikTok court issues and so forth, how are you utilizing platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts to kind of alter your company strategy a bit moving forward?
We actually launched our first podcast show 2 months ago. It's called The Splash Sisters. And it's not your traditional podcast where they're filming hour-long videos and clips and posting the audio to Spotify. It's actually short-form video-led, where we're having our two podcast hosts, Mev and Hannah, sitting down and creating 15 to 20, 2 to 4 minute segments, sometimes 2 to 4, 15-second segments, to basically distribute across TikTok and across Instagram and across Snapchat and Twitter. So it's an area where we're seeing a lot of growth in. We've certainly gotten involved with it as a company, and it's been very successful so far.
Let's get a crystal ball going. Let's look into it. For 2023 short term, what can we expect from SGG Media? And even in the long term, could you be branching out of the US potentially into another regions?
It's on the table. Yeah, I think in the short term, you're looking at just continued growth. Right now, our database is just over 30 million followers. You're going to see us at 50 million by the end of the year, hopefully.
You set the target now. It's on
camera.
Yeah,
right? Exactly. Now I got to live up to it. And then I think you're going to continue to see growth in our content section. We launched our first podcast 2 months ago. We're in the works right now, something exciting, kind of a streaming red zone type show that I don't want to divulge too much information about. But I think just continue to expand our content sector and keep building out our Instagram and Twitter database.
Perfect. Troy, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
SBC Media.